So what have we got here right now?
Well, it's a bit of a mood board for the website, I guess. Trying to take into account some of the colours that we wanted to use and the style of photography and imagery that we wanted to convey. Some positive pictures of people doing things, achieving things with goals, but also sort of real people as well, not sort of models and that kind of thing. Also wanted to reflect the use of media, the connectivity that's going on. That's about it for the moment.
Yeah, that's great. Well, what have we got here then?
This is like our mood board for the staying safe.
Not my view, I just stole it from in front of
We've got all the different ideas about how we want the logo to look and stuff. And who it's for and...
Do you want to give Paul a
Okay, that looks really cool. That looks quite cool.
Something like that.
Okay, so what's that you're doing?
Image. I think I think maybe slightly more ambiguous, so that you're not quite sure what it is, so it builds up a bit of intrigue.
So what's that you're doing right now? Yeah.
I'll take some pictures.
Oh yeah, this idea that we came up with a logo, which is kind of two hands interlinking, hands being safety, and we're thinking that if we did use this as a logo, we could have images behind. You want to click on it, interactivity. But you can use this logo anywhere.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Okay, sounds good.
So we were looking at different types of fonts and styles of text that we liked, and then we came up with some colour ideas.
So we thought maybe you could have like a colour that represents each of the different campaigns. So it might be really simple, the front of a web page, but then you just have each different colour, and that would, when you click on those, it would go into a whole area, and each area would be kind of colour coded. It might have like strip lines across, which have some little information. Like for example, you could have teaching in blue, but if you had like 3 different workshops, you'd have 3 different shades of blue to highlight their campaign within the text.
We also wanted a really, really simple logo, so we were all kind of drawn to this quite simple G and the A from the Albany and JD Sports.
But we were also drawn to some images which were using hands, and we were thinking hands kind of represent safety, and also like trust and hopefulness and safeguarding. So we were like looking at different poses for hands, like out proud. We thought the fist wasn't any good because it's a bit communist, but then we were looking at the shapes and hands. Oh, turn it around, and we actually came up with like that kind of hand shape. And we were like, oh, actually that makes us shape an S, which is the staying safe. So we were playing with that, whether it's a geometrical, whether it's a soft touch, and then we were looking at colours that might work well with that. The fact that it's interchangeable because it's a simple design.
Well, sort of about with the colours and stuff. So you can see with the colours they're quite kind of striking, quite kind of clean in a way. But as well as them with the reds and the greens, whatever, sort of, I don't know, quite kind of simple colours as well, straightforward. And then with like these kind of images here, just kind of show kind of the look and the feel. Again, kind of quite slick, quite smooth. Looking at sort of these pictures here, again you've got that kind of drive, that kind of determination, that kind of focus. Here the sense of achievement. We've got things here about using like phones and the technology and whatever. But also we've got a couple of images here as well that shows, as much as it's been quite smooth and slick and achievement, and at the same time it's quite real, quite kind of gritty. So that comes across also, that kind of authenticity. Making sure we've got the whole picture, the big picture, having impact, opportunities. It's about team, art, entertainment, concepts, hungry, it's free, it's a free service. This is about information, it's a book, but not necessarily how you usually see a book. That's quite how it's short, it's quite nice whenever, but it's offering information to you. Unique, and that is it, I think. So again, there isn't anything in there that is specific, say that this is what it is, but it's just a variety of kind of like ideas, kind of feeling, kind of colours, kind of the feel, the approach, the attitude. So that's that.
And you could look at like positive and negative, so if it was dealing with negative issues or positive issues or aspirational, and you could play around and you could put different texts or surfaces or images behind.
Yeah, and you could put it in like safety sign boxes, circles, you can put it, because it's a...
And because there's two halves, you could separate the halves out and they could be an apostrophe or an exclamation mark or a question mark.
Or a little character.
Yeah, you can use them as like icons in different pieces of print and interactive media. With this one here, we were looking at cutouts and thinking you could place an image behind it, click on it to get the content for like interactive materials, so it's quite interchangeable.
And we didn't like these.
No, these don't want.
This is what we don't. No.
No purple.
No purple. There's too much purple. No,
Like
these
the
colours
noteboard.
are always associated with young people, so they are really nice. But a lot of the flyers that you see
They're too
look
cluttered,
like
it
club
doesn't stand out.
flyers. It's not about being club. And these ones are
Institutional, aren't they? Corporate.
dry and boring. And Twitter's just a little bit too,
Entertaining.
a little bit too round, a little bit too soft. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, something that's quite interactive, wasn't it? That was,
Yeah.
So
You
you
could
have
move
to
it, you
look
could
into
show it, you could project it onto an estate.
You
Yeah,
could have
big
big photos
billboards.
of young people holding their hands up doing
It's a positive gang, like as opposed to negative gang signs, it's like a positive sign.
Yeah.
We did have an image once. There was a girl who was holding up the logo, and that, you know, when you're starting out to build a brand, you can say like, this is your target audience because they're right there, and they're holding up the logo because it's relevant to them. Things
They
like
could
that.
get signs,
through
couldn't
it.
they?
Yeah, that's how I did.
Very good. Yeah, have you been rehearsing that?
No.
We had this idea to start off with that this was our initial idea, basically like this kind of style. You see, like it's got the if you're being kind of wired up to a life support machine in hospitals, it's got that kind of in the background. Then we're going to have like staying like in obviously the same format as how it is here. I don't know if you can see that. And then obviously like not necessarily this colour, but the safe written in like that kind of text, so it's cracked down the middle. So like safety, like kind of safety glass and stuff like that. So it's cracked because that kind of represents things like if someone's cut themselves or like obviously someone's stabbed or something like that. So it would be, but obviously we wanted to have it this kind of style. So like it would be like black background bit, and then this would be red. And Shanique come up with a few ideas as well. And this is one of them, isn't it, Shanique? What's that about, Shanique?
That the young persons normally stick together in groups and stuff.
And that's like safety in numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't know what else. Oh yeah, and also then we kind of figured out this idea that when you click on the site, the Stay in Safe logo words crack and fall down the screen, so like shards of glass, because obviously that's kind of represents safety a bit. But
Oh, one idea we had, this idea where like a guy standing, an average, a mixed-race guy standing wearing jeans and hoodie and stuff, and he's cracked away, and the only thing that survives is his hand. It's a bit like Andrew's idea, and the only thing that survives is his hand, and within his hand is a knife, as he said, and a pen.
this picture, you know, the whole safety issue thing, it was kind of like when we found a picture of this woman, like typical, like if she dressed like that in the street, she's going to get herself into trouble because obviously, like she's not wearing many clothes, so obviously that's why we wrote she's going to get into trouble. Well, I don't know why you chose that. Why did you choose that?
Keely.
You chose it.
I chose it. I chose it.
Clothes on. Yeah, and then like we kind of like these colours because we thought they worked really well together, like the blue, the yellow, and the pink, quite bright. And obviously we put this on here because we felt like the fist, like clench like that, kind of is kind of strength, like to walk away. So, but apart from that, like, and we kind of like this style of writing as well. So it's quite similar to that, except for its kind of 3D version. So we kind of like that. I think that's everything.
It's great, yeah. I really like the graphic symbol with the two hands. Like the way you've got it there, hand drawn. You kind of sometimes it's good to avoid that kind of thing because you always need to think of it as a flat graphic rather than having any detail in it. But I think the simplicity of that, yes, the simplicity of it, and they've seen a couple of brands like AOL, and there's some Melbourne. I think the Opera House has got a logo which is just a shape which then holds things behind it, which is a really nice idea that you can just you can put anything behind it, and the AOL one works in a similar way. I like the way that there's kind of more of a focus here on kind of the personality, and I think it's definitely, it seems to be the only one that's trying to sort of look at the kind of sort of serious sort of professional angle of, or you know, trying to take everything seriously and kind of bearing that in mind. So I think it's good to take that from that one, and yeah, I think it's a good idea to kind of looking at what else is out there and sort of looking at those colours and how they're quite prevalent across a lot of sites that are targeting youth, and potentially trying to sort of move away from that and kind of differentiate yourself and be unique and kind of actually make people kind of separate from the crowd. Yeah, I think it's great because you've got like a mixture of stuff, and there's kind of thinking behind it, because you know a lot of the time people are, you know, it's just kind of like gut instinct, but it's always good to look at individual elements and say, you know, what is it about that colour, or what is it about that shape which is kind of reflecting the brand. So you always have to go back, and you know, it's really good when you're talking about it, because as soon as you talk about it, you're kind of thinking about it again in a different way. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say that as a kind of logo, that it really kind of shines out to me.
Which one?
The two hands.
The two, yeah.
But also, you know, there's some great stuff in there. There's a kind of more of a background to the actual brand and the personality of it. So I think, you know, there's kind of elements that you could take from each one, and you know, I think between you can kind of sort of just pick out those elements that kind of are working together, and you just kind of synthesize it down into kind of a much more kind of focused one kind of message. But I think, you know, there's elements in all of them that you could use. So yeah, very good.
So you've got the basis of a logo, you've got the basis,
and a look and feel
point
as well, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd get that far, but yeah, you've done really well.
Yeah.